Did you know that in 2025, Apple announced that the majority of its devices shipped to the US in the June quarter will originate from India and Vietnam, marking a significant shift away from Chinese manufacturing? For decades, China has been the cornerstone of Apple's manufacturing empire, thanks to its vast infrastructure and skilled labor force. However, recent developments have prompted Apple to diversify its supply chain. The company has begun ramping up iPhone production in India, with a new Tata Electronics facility in Hosur and a $2.6 billion Foxconn plant in Bengaluru set to produce iPhone 16 and 16e models. This strategic shift is driven by multiple factors. Escalating U.S.-China trade tensions have led to significant tariffs on Chinese imports, compelling Apple to seek alternative manufacturing hubs. India, with its favorable economic policies, large workforce, and improving infrastructure, has emerged as a viable alternative. The Indian government's production-linked incentive, offering financial incentives for local manufacturing, has further attracted Apple and its suppliers, including Foxconn and Tata Electronics. Tata Electronics has significantly ramped up operations, capturing 26% of India's iPhone production and expanding its workforce by 63% in 2024. Foxconn's new plant in Bengaluru is expected to create 50,000 jobs and produce iPhone 16 and 16e models. Apple's decision to assemble its iPhone 16 Pro models in India marks the first time these high-end devices are produced outside China, highlighting a major shift in the company's global production strategy. This move not only reduces Apple's reliance on China, but also positions India as a significant player in the global tech manufacturing landscape. Apple's strategic pivot away from China is driven by a confluence of escalating trade tensions, supply chain vulnerabilities, and rising operational costs. The imposition of a 145% tariff on Chinese imports by the U.S. has significantly impacted companies like Apple, increasing the cost of goods and prompting a reevaluation of manufacturing strategies. The COVID-19 pandemic further exposed the fragility of global supply chains. Apple's reliance on a concentrated manufacturing base in China led to significant disruptions during the pandemic, affecting inventory management and customer satisfaction. These challenges underscored the need for a more resilient and diversified supply chain. Additionally, labor costs in China have been on the rise. In 2000, the average factory worker in China earned less than $1 per hour, but by 2025, this figure has surged to over $6.50 per hour. This increase diminishes the cost advantage that once made China an attractive manufacturing hub. In response to these factors, Apple is expanding its manufacturing footprint to countries like India and Vietnam. This move not only mitigates risks associated with geopolitical tensions and supply chain disruptions, but also capitalizes on lower labor costs and emerging market opportunities. Apple's decision has far-reaching implications. By shifting production to India and Vietnam, Apple not only mitigates tariff-related costs, but also reduces its reliance on a single country for manufacturing. This move could set a precedent for other tech giants, potentially leading to a broader realignment of global manufacturing hubs. For China, this shift poses challenges, as it may lead to factory closures and job losses in regions heavily dependent on tech manufacturing. A notable moment underscoring this transition was Apple's announcement that most iPhones sold in the U.S. will be sourced from India by June 2025. This declaration not only highlights Apple's commitment to diversifying its supply chain, but also signals a significant shift in global manufacturing dynamics. Apple's move away from Chinese manufacturing is driven by a combination of geopolitical tensions, economic considerations, and the need for supply chain resilience. This strategic shift could reshape the global manufacturing landscape, with countries like India and Vietnam emerging as new industrial powerhouses. What are your thoughts on Apple's manufacturing transition? Do you believe this will lead to a broader shift in global manufacturing trends? Share your opinions in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our next video on the evolving landscape of global supply chains.